You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, area animal shelters are reaching or at capacity. KOAM's Melissa Alexis shows us how crowded shelters affect their surrounding communities.
Also, the Missouri Department of Conservation is stepping up to reduce the concern for timber theft.
And take a look at that sunrise. It looks beautiful out there. It's a bit chilly and it's going to be quite breezy later today. Look at that forecast. Get you out the door. Coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner just after 7 o'clock on this Thursday, October the 17th.
Yes.
And so I'll make it quick because we've got some cast members from Pittsburgh Community Theater for A Few Good Men.
Yes.
I love the movie, and the whole time that they've been talking about this, all I do in commercial breaks is quote the movie.
Yes, he does. It's kind of fascinating just how much he knows about that movie and how on the ball he is with those quotes.
Too many quotes, though, that we can't say here
Sure.
on your KOAM Morning News. But if you've seen the movie, you know it's great, and you know this production is going to be great. We'll hear a little more from them later in the show.
Absolutely. Well, the Joplin Humane Society is currently over capacity and not able to accept any more dogs.
KOAM's Melissa Alexis looks at how the situation is impacting local communities.
The Joplin Humane Society is dealing with an influx of dogs at their facility.
Over 100% capacity now for about the past 2.5 months.
Connie Andrews, the executive director at the Joplin Humane Society, says every kennel is full.
Which has made it very hard for us to provide our mission of getting stray animals home, so we just have no room for them. Sometimes capacity has been over 120%, so you can just set up so many crates before it's not, healthy.
The city of Joplin says many stray dogs are actually lost, and they encourage the community to contact them for help with finding the dogs home.
Call the Joplin Health Department and Animal Control and let us know. There's a possibility that we may know where that dog lives. If the animal has a collar on it, if they could contact the owner.
And right now, this means that cities like Joplin and Carl Junction can't take strays to the Humane Society.
We are still open for emergencies. We are open for quarantines for dogs that have bitten. If you find a dangerous dog that truly is a dangerous dog, you need to call Animal Control or your local police department. We are still here to help you with that. We do not want dangerous animals out in the community.
The city is considering their options and looking for a solution to the influx of stray dogs.
We're looking at the possibility of some additional sheltering options, in addition to the Joplin Humane Society.
They also look to the community for help during this time and encourage people that are in the market for a dog to adopt. Reporting in Joplin, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Now, the Joplin Humane Society needs foster families and adopters.
And they also remind the community to spay and neuter their pets to avoid making this situation worse than what it already is. And of course, it's a very tough situation, so anything you can do to help is definitely appreciated. And we've got ourselves a bit of a cold start to the day again. Not as cold as we were yesterday, but still pretty chilly out there. Let's start with a look at the sunrise from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. And there's a look at it, and it looks pretty good, doesn't it? What you can't tell from just the camera's perspective is that it's cold outside. I don't like the cold. Some folks do. I understand it. Husky dogs, for example, they love the cold. I don't love the cold nearly as much. Looks great, too, from our camera at 7th and Rangeline. MoDOT camera 28th and Rangeline. Traffic is moving. Nobody's stopped unless, light turns red, so that's a good thing. And the KDOT camera at 69 East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh, looking great as well. Frost advisory for Benton County continues through 9 a.m. And then we've got red flag warnings. And in Kansas, that's Coffee, Anderson, and Lynn counties. In Missouri, that's Bates County. These go until 7. But even if you're not under a red flag warning, Do not do any outdoor burning. A number of our fire agencies are already telling people don't do it. It's too dry. The ground is dry. The air today will be very dry. And we're looking at south winds out there gusting anywhere from, let's say, 30 to 40 miles an hour. So it's not worth it. It's too dangerous. You can wait a few days, let things calm down before you start doing any outdoor burning. Temperatures today as we head into the afternoon will be a little warmer than yesterday, but still for most of us will be below average. And as I mentioned, we've got those gusty winds to contend with. 43 in Joplin right now, cooler in Pittsburgh, sitting at 35. And across the region, temperatures for the most part upper 30s and into the low 40s as we get our Thursday underway. Stockton right now is now the cool spot, sitting at 32 degrees. Sunny skies, again breezy, south winds out there gusting 30, 40 miles an hour. And we're looking at highs upper 60s, maybe a couple of low 70s. The winds will continue into tonight and tomorrow, and temperatures are going to start to steadily climb into the weekend. Details on that in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
Thanks, Chris. Well, one day after a southeast Kansas man pleads guilty in a murder case, his wife does the opposite. 23-year-old Dakota Patton was reported missing in April of last year. His body was discovered in a field in Neosho County, Kansas the following month. According to court documents, Clint Nimbarger was the last known person to see Patton alive, arguing with him at a gas station over a woman. While Patton was missing, Nimbarger and Kimberly Thomas got married. They then traveled to Missouri for their honeymoon. That's when police arrested them both, and authorities originally charged both of them with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Tuesday, Clint Nimbarger pled guilty to amend charges in Dakota Patton's shooting death. As part of his deal, the prosecutor is recommending Nimbarger receive a sentence of a little more than 24 years in prison. However, yesterday the court entered a not guilty plea for Nimbarger's wife, Kimberly, meaning her case could end up in a jury trial. Well, just after 3 p.m. yesterday, a recycling center near the Rogers Municipal Airport caught fire. The fire quickly spread throughout the complex despite dozens of units and firefighters responding from multiple agencies. The plume of smoke could be seen in Neosho, Eureka Springs, Knoll, and Fayetteville. McDonald County, Missouri Emergency Management say the smoke is floating into Missouri. The fire is mostly burning cardboard and pallets. There are no known injuries at this time, and you can visit our website for more information as it becomes available, KOAMNewsNow.com. And if you're ever on the go and want to still be able to watch our newscast live, just download the KOAM Plus app. It's available free of charge on the App Store of your choice. Just search for KOAM Plus. Well, a growing concern about the act of timber theft. The Missouri Department of Conservation is warning that there are those trying to illegally turn certain trees into stacks of green. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more.
They say money doesn't grow on trees, but depending on the tree, you could sell it for a pretty penny. But that doesn't mean you can just go chop down the first tree you see and try and make a quick buck.
Timber theft is a thing in Missouri, and it's becoming more of a problem.
The illegal harvesting and sale of the black walnut tree in particular, a tree that could land someone a few $100.
People illegally harvest walnut trees from somebody else's property. Basically, they steal them, and then they take them to a lumber yard, a sawmill, and get money for those logs.
According to Tim Mose, a spokesperson with an American-owned local lumber yard, Missouri Walnut, there is no way of telling whether or not the logs someone brings in have been obtained legally or not. However, their business works closely with law enforcement and obtains identification of every person who brings timber to the yard. If a person is flagged by local or federal agencies, that information is given to the necessary authorities.
It varies on the punishment, and then what happens is the prosecuting attorney and the judge also get involved in issuing the sentence. But a lot of them end up being Class D felonies.
If you're suspicious of trees being taken from your lands, there are actions you can take.
Public is important. Public input is important. If somebody sees something, they can report it to their local conservation agent. They can report it to their local conservation office.
Hopefully putting a stop to timber theft one tree at a time. Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Now, the penalty for timber theft could be up to 7 years in prison and up to $10,000 in fines. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, a couple of cast members from the Pittsburgh Community Theater joins us in the studio with an invitation to their production of A Few Good Men this weekend. And later, a neglected pony has gone viral after animal rescue steps in to provide care. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. The Pittsburgh Community Theater has been preparing for its production of Aaron Sorkin's A Few Good Men. Now, Tony Sanchez and Dr. Mark Johnson are with us this morning with an invitation for this weekend's performances. Good morning and welcome to you both. Happy to have you with us.
Good morning, Elise. We came in costume today.
Yes, you did. You guys look fantastic. So for those who might not know, talk to me a little bit about what A Few Good Men is and the roles that you're playing.
So, A Few Good Men is set a trial in Jagcor because the Marines at Guantanamo Bay, we have a thing called a Code Red where we correct our own members.
Sure,
we
yes.
train them up. But unfortunately, a young man died during this incident, and so 2 Marines are on trial for their lives.
Right.
I play Colonel Jessup, Jack Nicholson's role in the movie.
Sure, yes.
And I am the commander at the base where this happened.
And I play Lieutenant Jonathan Kendrick.
Wonderful. And so this is, for those who are probably most familiar with A Few Good Men, it's from the 1992 film, but this was also a play. So how does it feel to be taking on such iconic roles? And I mean, even Chris was quoting it all throughout the morning. There's such iconic roles. Talk to me a little bit about that.
It gave me greater insight into the things that the men and women that serve this country do every day. I think most of us take for granted.
Right.
They don't understand that they're putting their lives on the line every day. And as my character says, we follow orders or people die.
Yes.
And they firmly believe that, and that's a reality for them.
Yeah, it's all about their code and how they live it.
Certainly. And this is a pretty intense courtroom drama play. So talk to me about why you chose to do this play specifically.
Well, we've been honoring, PCT has been honoring the men and women in this country. This is our 3rd of 4 productions honoring the men and women that serve in this country. They did Biloxi Blues, they did South Pacific, and we're doing Few Good Men, and we'll have Always Calm.
In Christmas, around Christmas.
And actually auditions are Monday and Tuesday of this next week.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Yes.
Well, check that out for sure. Now, opening night is tomorrow. How are you feeling?
We're ready.
Excited.
Yes.
We're excited, anxious to hit the ground running.
And this will be at the Pittsburgh Memorial Auditorium. Talk to me just briefly about the other Showtime performances and where people can get tickets.
Okay, so Friday evening we have a 7:30 performance. That's the 18th, the 19th at 7:30, and then Sunday we have a 2 o'clock matinee. You can get tickets at memorialauditorium.org. Couldn't be simpler. You can go right online, get your tickets, or you can get them at the door.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Happy to have you.
Thank
Break
you.
a leg tomorrow.
Thank
have
you.
a blast. Stick around. We're back with more right after this.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is going to turn 7:18 here in about 2 seconds. And we're starting with this. A quick reminder, Benton County Frost Advisory continues through 9 a.m. On the future track, other than a few clouds tomorrow, there's not a lot to show except for the winds. And that's something we're going to talk about here in just a moment. It's going to be very windy, gusts out of the south. So if you're traveling east-west highways in a high-profile vehicle, even in a smaller vehicle, with winds as high as they're going to be gusting in some locations, you definitely want to hold on to the wheel. Keep that in mind. Be careful out there. Now, the last couple of windy days we've had, the winds have eased up by late evening and overnight. That is not going to be the case as we head into tonight. Those gusty winds will ease up a bit, but not significantly so, and they'll stay gusty overnight and pick right back up where they left off as we head into our Friday. By Friday morning, we're starting temperatures temperatures for most of us into the upper 40s out there. We're going to be a little warmer. So today we're looking to be a little below normal. Tomorrow we're going to be a little above normal as we head into the afternoon. And then we go into the weekend and we're going to be a lot of above normal to the tune of almost 10 to 12 degrees as we go through the weekend and into the next work week. So here's the other thing though, Saturday morning. Now, I know this is not when the parade starts. I'm not crazy. If it started that early, I don't think there'd be anybody there. There might be. It's a good parade. But if you're going to the Maple Leaf Parade in Carthage, bear in mind it's going to be a little chilly in the morning, upper 40s, low 50s. But again, if you're planning on any activities following that, up on the square, checking out vendors, you make sure that you dress appropriately because as we head later into the day, temperatures Saturday are going to start to warm up, and that's where, again, where we're going to start to go a little above normal out there. Then we have the winds to talk about. Now, as you just saw before this zoomed in, off to our west is where the greater concern for gusty winds will be, but roughly on this poorly drawn line, Fort Scott, Parsons, Independence, Newata, points northwest from today, tonight, and into Friday. That's where the better opportunity of winds gusting out of the south upwards of 40 miles an hour will be. This is midnight, and you can see Iola and Yates Center both at or very close to 40 mile an hour wind gusts. But take a look outside of that, a number of us still pushing 20, 30 mile an hour wind gusts overnight tonight, and that's how it'll be today. And then this whole process repeats again as we head into our Friday with those winds again northwest, gusting upwards of close to 40 and everyone else 20 to 30. So in Kansas, Coffee, Anderson, Lynn counties, Bates County in Missouri, this is a red flag warning through 7 o'clock tonight. And as we mentioned too, even if you're not in that red flag warning, no outdoor burning. I'm not going to go into the details, just that is your key message. No outdoor burning. Got to put it off for a few days. Don't worry. You can hold on. It'll be all right. 43 in Joplin. Skies are clear. It does feel like 38. Got that south breeze at 9 for now. But again, as we go through the morning, those winds will pick up. Most of us into the upper 30s and low 40s as we get our day started. Sedan is back to being the cold spot, sitting at 33 degrees. And as we get this morning underway, upper 30s to start, sunny skies, winds start picking up, be into the upper 50s by 11 o'clock this morning. Highs today, upper 60s, maybe some low 70s, mid 70s Friday, upper 70s near 80 heading into the weekend. We got those rain chances on Monday still showing up, and then next week we'll kind of bounce back and forth between the upper 70s and low 80s. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this. A once neglected pony in Nebraska now has a new start thanks to a Colorado animal rescue and the generosity of strangers. The horse had overgrown hooves that hadn't been cared for in years, making it hard for her to walk.
The story went viral on TikTok and fortunately has a happy ending. Carla Sosa has more.
10 days ago, this 18-year-old pony arrived at Houghton Healing and Therapy, a horse sanctuary out in Calhan.
I immediately cried because it was devastating seeing this horse, the way she was even standing.
Jennifer Houghton couldn't believe the condition the pony was in, especially her hooves.
She had severely overgrown feet, she was malnourished and thin, and she also had really bad teeth.
After learning about the pony in Nebraska, Jennifer put out a call for donations on the group's Facebook page. $600 in donations helped the group get her transported to their sanctuary in Calhan, where she got badly needed care.
Because of the severity of her feet, we actually had to use a sawzall like you would use for like lumber or something because there was no other way to clip through them.
They estimate her hooves hadn't been trimmed in 6 years, with the pony carrying about 7 extra pounds.
There's a lot of dried up, hardened manure and hair that had been collected that she was dragging around, and it had actually curled back up into her leg and rubbed a wound into her front right leg.
After everything this pony has been through, they decided to name her Athena after the Greek goddess of war because to them, she continues to be a warrior. Houghton is sharing Athena's story on social media in hopes of bringing awareness to animal cruelty. Athena has now become a TikTok sensation.
Up to 1.3 million views. She has over 70,000 likes.
Talk about a transformation.
I know.
Wow.
That's
incredible. I mean, you feel so bad for the pony that went through all of this. But to see her recover and be taken care of now is just remarkable.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, as the war in Ukraine rages on, President Zelensky is facing mounting pressure from its Western allies to seek a truce with Russia.
And I've got a beautiful but chilly start to the day out there. We'll talk about how warm it's going to get, talk about those winds when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. I'm Elise Snowy. The Pittsburgh Police Department will host a site for the National Prescription Drug Take Back Day. The event, which takes place October 26 from 10 to 2, is a way to help people easily get rid of their old, unneeded, unwanted, or expired medications. Now, the Pittsburgh PD will only collect solid forms of prescription medications, no needles or injectors. Anyone interested can go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, for more information. Well, Election Day is less than 3 weeks away, but voters still have time to learn about the candidates running for office in their areas. 2 candidates are running for U.S. Congress in the 2nd District of Kansas, Republican Derek Schmidt and Democrat Nancy Boyda. KOAM sat down with both candidates to learn about their positions on everything from the economy to abortion to immigration. We also asked them about their level of confidence in the election integrity.
Well, of course, even though they're federal elections for federal office, they are run by states. That's the nature of our electoral system. And so the answer to the question of what's my degree of confidence is it depends on the state. I think Kansas, for example, has really a respectable election system. It's secure, it can always be improved, and it didn't just happen that way. It's secure because there's been continual improvement by legislators and governors over the years trying to foresee problems and head them off or fix them after they arise. There are states I'm not as confident in.
But my whole campaign is about rebuilding trust. That if we don't find a way to rebuild trust, so many people that I talk to will understand that we're on the brink of actually coming apart. So I live in a pretty rural area. I hear about civil war, and they're serious, Dow. They're serious. And do you know why? Because people like what Derek did. He sowed the seeds of distrust.
You can check out these interviews in their entirety on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/elections. Well, students at the Carthage Junior High School got to sink their teeth into a tasty event yesterday. Hispanic Food Day gives students of Hispanic and Latino heritage the opportunity to bring in and share their favorite dish. Now, the event always serves up a good time for the kids who get to see their teachers outside of the usual classroom setting. One teacher expressed his love for the event.
Those who are my students who are Hispanic, they get to share their culture with those who aren't, and that's why I like to just mesh those two together.
I think today I feel like it's really good, and just the meaning behind it and everything. I love it.
Now, Larry Brooks, also known as Senior Brooks to his students, teaches 7th and 8th grade exploratory Spanish at the junior high. Now let's check in with Chris for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've got a chilly start to the day out there. It looks great, though. Nice shot of the sunrise from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. Got a good shot of it as well from our camera at 7th and Rangeline. Of course, hiding behind the trees here, but we'll eventually rise a little higher and make it a little warmer today. Not significantly so, but we will be warmer. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline. Skies look great, roads look great, and of course same from the KDOT camera at 69 East 520th Avenue. A few more folks out there getting their day started, and I guarantee you just about all of them, unless you really like the cold, probably have your heat on. We have that frost advisory, Benton County, that continues through 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock this morning. I was going to say tonight, but through the morning. Then we have red flag warnings through 7 this evening in Kansas. That's Coffee, Anderson, and Lynn counties. And in Missouri, that's Bates County. And even if you're not under a red flag warning, again, number of agencies across our region telling you no outdoor burning. And we've got winds out of the south today. They'll be upwards of 20 miles sustained, 20 miles an hour sustained. And we'll have gusts ranging anywhere from 30 to 40 miles an hour. So no outdoor burning. And if you're driving a high-profile vehicle, keep that in mind as well. Temperatures today going to be a little warmer than where we were yesterday, but still for most of us a bit below normal. And these gusty winds, by the way, will continue through the overnight hours as well. 43 in Joplin, 36 in Pittsburgh, and around the region, the majority of us into the upper 30s and low 40s as we get our Thursday underway. We'll eventually, again, make highs into the upper 60s, maybe some low 70s. Sunny And on top of all that, breezy. And we're going to warm up tomorrow, be at or a little above normal, and the warm up continues and the winds continue as well. Details on your full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Lisa.
All right, thanks, Chris. The United States is sending more weapons to Ukraine as part of President Biden's latest multi-million-dollar aid package. It comes as Ukrainian President Zelensky admits he's facing pressure from Western allies to negotiate with Russia, and rumors swirl around North Korea sending troops to aid Russia. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has the latest from Washington.
Russia is ramping up targeted strikes, and Ukraine's military admits the situation on the front lines is grim as troops take hits and struggle to hold back their enemy. But Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky believes it's possible his country can end the war by next year. He laid out his victory plan to Parliament on Wednesday, which largely hinges on an invitation to join NATO.
An invitation for Ukraine to join NATO could become truly fundamental for peace. We understand that NATO membership is a matter of the future, not the present. But Putin must see that his geopolitical calculations have failed.
In his remarks, Zelensky also implied Western allies are growing weary and want Ukraine to come to the negotiating table. That's a non-starter for Zelensky, especially after reports of North Korean soldiers training with Russia.
If that's true, it would mark a significant increase in the relationship between those two countries. It would also indicate a new level of desperation by Russia.
Ukraine still has the United States in its corner, at least while President Biden is in office. He spoke with Zelensky Wednesday and announced a new $425 million aid package, which includes air defense systems, missiles, and other critical weapons.
We're going to continue to provide assistance, show our support for Ukraine, stand by the Ukrainians.
Parts of President Zelensky's victory plan are confidential, but he has presented it to NATO members, including President Biden. However, no country has publicly voiced their support. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. There's plenty of excitement in Washington, D.C. as the Smithsonian Zoo received 2 new guests all the way from China. Topping Consumer Watch this morning. Damage from recent hurricanes could rival other historic storms. Natural disaster experts say the cost of hurricanes Helene and Milton from Florida to North Carolina are expected to each total $50 billion, similar to other storms like Sandy, Harvey, and Katrina. Weather analysts say the $50 billion mark is often used to determine if a natural disaster was a historic event. Economists say only 8 storms have reached $50 billion in damages before Helene and Milton. Well, a new federal rule might make it easier to cancel your unwanted subscriptions. The FTC adopted a click-to-cancel rule on Wednesday, which will require businesses to get consumer consent for charging memberships and auto renewals after a free trial. Now, the rule states businesses must also make canceling a subscription just as easy as starting it. The agency's new rule will take effect 180 days after it is published in the Federal Register. Well, projected Thanksgiving food prices show mixed results for consumers as Wells Fargo Agri-Food Institute report shows turkeys will likely cost 16% less than the previous year. But if ham is the main course instead, consumers will likely need to spend 5.2% more compared to last year. Other Thanksgiving dishes such as russet potatoes, green beans, and canned pumpkin are expected to skyrocket. A bipartisan group of lawmakers is asking for more information from TikTok following reports about the safety of minors on its platform. Now, TikTok is now responding to the allegations. Fox Business correspondent Hillary Vaughn has more.
Lawmakers are asking TikTok to turn over internal communications after reports the company was aware of dangers its app posed to younger users. The concerns follow the release of confidential documents from a 2-year investigation which led 14 attorneys general to sue the app last week. Senators Marsha Blackburn and Richard Blumenthal writing in a letter to TikTok's CEO, quote, TikTok has knowingly designed their products in a manner that can cause substantial harm to kids, including fostering destructive addiction and amplifying child sexual exploitation. Rather than address these risks, TikTok instead seemingly misled the public about the safety of its platform. TikTok is pushing back against the allegations, saying the complaint, quote, cherry picks misleading quotes and takes outdated documents out of context to misrepresent our commitment to community safety. We have robust safeguards, which include proactively removing suspected underage users. As part of a bill signed by President Biden, TikTok has until January 19th to divest to an American company or face a ban, something critics say is long overdue.
We allowed it to take root and become entrenched instead of doing what we should have done way back then.
If elected, former President Trump indicated he would not do anything to stop an ultimate ban. The choice for TikTok to divest or to face a ban was signed into law under President Biden and Vice President Harris's administration. In Washington, Hillary Vaughn, Fox Business.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 7:44 on this Thursday morning. We're starting with a quick reminder on that frost advisory for Benton County. Continues until 9 o'clock this morning. After that, it's going to get windy and it's going to be a little warmer today, but still below average temperatures as we head into the afternoon. No cloud cover, no rain out there, unfortunately, which is why outdoor burning is not recommended at all. But now with these winds that we're going to have today, tonight, and into Friday, you certainly do not want to do any outdoor burning. We'll talk about those winds in here in just a second or two. As we head into tonight, another cool one, but a little bit, again, warmer than where we've been. Upper 40s for our overnight lows. And again, the winds will not subside tonight. It'll still be gusty tonight into Friday, and it'll be a little warmer on Friday. So by Friday, we're looking to be at or maybe just a little above normal by Friday afternoon and evening. Then we go into the overnight hours. And if you're going to the Maple Leaf Parade, again, Saturday morning in Carthage, be prepared. It's going to be a little cool. We're talking upper 40s, low 50s at parade time. But as I've mentioned too, if you're planning on doing anything after the parade, going to the square, visiting vendors, whatever the case may be, it's going to start to warm up by the afternoon, be a little warmer than normal as we're looking at upper 70s out there. So here's the wind situation we're talking about. From roughly Fort Scott, Parsons, Independence, Nowata, points northwest, that's where the greater chances for gusts upwards of 40 miles an hour will be. If you're southeast of that point, still breezy, gusts up to 20 or 30 miles an hour will be possible. So again, still breezy through the evening hours. Overnight tonight, take a look at some of these gusts that we're still expecting even at midnight. So in the last couple of windy days we've had, the winds have subsided a bit overnight, but that is not going to be the case tonight. And it'll be gusty still throughout the day on Friday, but again, the greater wind gusts will be off in the northwestern half of our area. We do have red flag warnings in Kansas for Coffee-Lynn and Anderson counties, and in Missouri for Bates County through 7 o'clock this evening. But as we discussed, even if you're not under a red flag warning, no outdoor burning. Please, it's not worth it. You can wait a few days. 43 in Joplin right now. Feels like 38 with that south breeze at 9 miles an hour with clear skies out there. Across the region, temperatures, again, it's a bit chilly out there. We've got upper 30s and low 40s as we get this day started. And the cold spot still looks to be Sedan, sitting at 32 right now. As we get the morning underway, again, sunny skies out there, cool to start, well, cold to start really, upper 30s, mid to upper 50s by 11 o'clock. And of course, as we go through the morning, the winds will start picking up as well. Heading into the afternoon, we'll have those clear skies, temperatures upper 60s, maybe a couple of low 70-degree readings. And we'll stay clear and cool as we go through the evening, 50 by 10, still breezy, mid 40s overnight tonight. And over the next 10 days, it's really going to start to warm up. But thankfully, I guess in a sense, it's a gradual warm-up. We're not going from, 50s and 60s suddenly to the 90s, but through the weekend, upper 70s, near 80, sunny. The rain on Monday still looking to be there. It's only a 30% chance, but it's better than a 0% chance. And as we go through next week, maybe some rain next Thursday as well, and temperatures kind of bouncing back and forth between the upper 70s and low 80s. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Well, 2 giant pandas have arrived in our nation's capital, marking the much-awaited return of the beloved bears from China to Washington's National Zoo.
Reporter Michael Yoshida joins us now with the more on what this panda diplomacy means for U.S.-China relations.
Pandamania is back in Washington, D.C.
Two 3-year-old giant pandas completing their journey from southwest China to the American capital.
Pandas are one of China's most powerful tools in their projection of soft power.
Tuesday's touchdown of the Panda Express marking a rare bright spot between the U.S. and China. Tensions over trade, technology, geopolitics, and more leading to fraught relations.
China is the biggest threat confronting this country.
And I will make sure that America, not China, wins the competition for the 21st century.
Enter Bao Li and Qing Bao and panda diplomacy.
Even though there's a pretense on both sides that this is just about conservation, ultimately the underlying subtext is, only China in the whole world has pandas. And so if the relationship is good, China will share their pandas with us.
Professor Judith Shapiro says pandas have long been used by China to project soft power, or an image of itself on the international stage that is favorable and can build goodwill. U.S. President Richard Nixon's ice-breaking trip in the 1970s to communist China during the Cold War eventually led to pandas arriving in D.C. Now, decades later, the bear's return could be the beginning of a new chapter in the rival superpowers relationship.
Here in Washington, D.C., pandas have become almost a symbol of the city. This is clearly a very smart move on the part of the Chinese to bring these pandas back.
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
Well, certainly exciting. I mean, I can't even imagine. I've never seen pandas in person. I've seen a lot of zoo animals, but I've never seen pandas in person.
I've never seen pandas either. There are not many around this area, unfortunately, but still very fascinating to see. Well, let's talk about what we're expecting as we head through today. We are expecting it to be windy, a little bit warmer, and still sunny out there. Future Track showing us heading into this afternoon where we're going to have those temperatures still below normal for most of us today, but warmer than where we have been. And we're also going to have those gusty south winds out there. As we head into our Friday, we're going to start the day a little warmer as well, into the upper 40s for most of us, and then eventually warming a little above normal as we head into the afternoon, or at or a little above as we go low 70s across the area. By Friday night into Saturday, we've got the Maple Leaf Parade, of course. If you're planning on going, be prepared for a couple of things. One, for parade time, it's probably going to be a little chilly, upper 40s, low 50s. But then if you're hanging around, doing stuff on the square afterwards, or any of the other Maple Leaf events going on Saturday after the parade, it will eventually warm up. And we're talking temperatures back into the mid, even upper 70s. So we still to go above normal. As we mentioned, from Fort Scott, Parsons, Nevada, points northwest, today, tonight, and tomorrow, that's where the better opportunity for seeing winds gusting upwards of 40 miles an hour will be. If you're southeast of that, still breezy, winds gusting 20 to 30 miles an hour, so something to keep in mind. And as such, we do have red flag warnings in parts of Kansas and Missouri, and even if you're not under one of those warnings, absolutely no outdoor burning over the next couple of days for sure. We're going to take another look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. One day after Clint Nimbarger pleads guilty in a murder case, his wife does the opposite. 23-year-old Dakota Patton was reportedly missing in April of last year, and his body was later discovered in a field in Neosho County, Kansas. On Tuesday, Clint Nimbarger pled guilty to amended charges in Dakota Patton's shooting death. Now, yesterday, the court entered a not guilty plea for Nimbarger's wife, Kimberly, meaning her case could end up in a jury trial. Well, the Pittsburgh Police Department will host a site for the National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. The event, which takes place October 26th from 10 to 2, is a way to help people easily get rid of medications. The Pitt PD will only collect solid forms of prescription medications. If you would like to learn more, you can visit our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. And the Joplin Humane Society is currently not able to accept dogs as it's over capacity. The city of Joplin says if someone sees a stray dog, they can call the Joplin Health Department and Animal Control. The city also encourages people who are looking for a pet to adopt.
And we've got ourselves a warmer day and breezier day as well. Upper 60s, maybe some low 70s. South winds gusting anywhere from 30 to 40 miles an hour, so no outdoor burning whatsoever. Clear skies through the evening. The gusty winds continue. They'll be pushing 20 to 30 miles an hour overnight tonight. So we fall back into the mid to upper 40s. For Friday, still windy, still 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts out of the south, mid 70s, warming up into the weekend, and then next week bouncing around between the upper 70s and low 80s. Rain chances still looking good for Monday, and maybe a few isolated showers by next Thursday.
All righty. Well, a Bay Village police officer unexpectedly encounters a rogue inflatable jack-o'-lantern in the middle of the street. The Halloween decoration escaped its yard, and Lieutenant Mark Palmer said that he found the runaway pumpkin on the roadway and was attempting to take it off the street when it suddenly surrounded him completely.
With the help from a few others, they successfully returned the pumpkin to its owner. Fortunately, neither the officers nor the inflatable pumpkin were harmed during the incident. So that's good news.
Yes.
Okay,
oh, there you go.
I will certainly do it, man. I mean, it is a giant inflatable pumpkin at that. The fact it didn't pop or tear is
I know.
remarkable.
It's crazy.
It is wild. Well, with the winds today, make sure your outdoor decorations and inflatables are secure, and we will see you back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.